Tiffany Dorsey, and I am going to talk to you guys about Grammarly. I just want to let you know that I am not a Grammarly representative. So I'm not a Grammarly representative. I'm just showing you what I learned just from experience. I'm telling you to say, if there's anything that you guys know about Grammarly that I might not know, feel free to just jump in wherever you want, okay? So I'll be honest. A couple of years ago, when I first found out that Prairie View was purchasing Grammarly, I thought like, oh, that's going to be a good resource. I was excited about the resource for my students. I went on YouTube and I found like a YouTube video to put on e-courses so they can use it. And I told them, hey, Prairie View has Grammarly for you. You should use it. And that's it. That's all I did. I wasn't really invested in it. I didn't try to learn it myself. And it wasn't until the push where Prairie View started pushing students to use it more, and we had to start sending students out to give presentations on Grammarly. And then more students started coming to us and asking, how do I use Grammarly? That was when I realized, like, wait a minute, I could probably use Grammarly for my own writing. I could use it in my own emails when I'm sending those late night emails, when that last email when I'm tired and depleted, just so I won't sound crazy. So think of like Microsoft Word, and remember how it has spell check and grammar check. I like to think of Grammarly like Microsoft Word spell check on steroids. So it is not just, it doesn't stop at grammar and punctuation. It reviews tone, readability, and even plagiarism if you have the premium version. You can download it on, Google. You can download it on Microsoft Word. For some people, some of us can download it on Microsoft Words. We can have it on our phones. I have it on my phone for text messaging. We can use it for social media. There's so many ways that we can use Grammarly. And so think of it as a part of the editing process. Not the whole, not the entire editing process for your own writing, but a part of it. So there are some authors who like to run it or upload it to Grammarly before they're writing to Grammarly, before they send it to an editor. Some authors say, hey, I wait until the editor looks at it, and then once I get it back, then I run my writing through Grammarly. So it's all up to you, but just think of it like this is a tool that both students could use and faculty and staff can use as well. Do we have any questions so far?
What version do we have access to?
I'm sorry?
What version do we have access to?
We have premium version, the educational premium version. And that's a great question because it leads into this next point. So some people say, hey, I have basic Grammarly. I signed up for that, and that's the free version. And that's a good version as well. And with basic here, it shows that it has critical grammar and spelling checks as well as conciseness. That's very good. But the version that we have, it goes on, we have that, and plus we have readability. We have vocabulary enhancement suggestions. We have, they try their hardest. Some people don't like the genre-specific writing style checks. You can also set your audience. You can set your goals. You can say what audience you want. What audience, how formal you want your writing to be, how engaging you want your writing to be. You can do all of that. And it also has a plagiarism detector. And that's a great one as well. It'll compare your writing to other writings online. The only thing it does not compare it to is your own writing. Like Turnitin, if you think of students, how they submit it to Turnitin, it compares their writing with other previous essays. This one does not do that, but it compares it to other websites. So how do you access Grammarly? I could put it in the chat. You go to this website and you have to sign up. You have to sign up using your PV email address. So make sure that's very, very important. And when you're signing up, make sure you're not accessing or you're not linking it to your Google account by default. Sometimes they automatically do that. If you do that, if you link it to the Google account, you run into an error, and the error will ask you for like the access code. I've had a lot of people say, hey, I don't know what to do. It asks for an access code. We do not require access code. So that's what you do. Once you sign up, it'll send you a verification email to your PV email address. And then after that, you're in. So once you're in, it'll ask you some questions. And those questions will ask, like, what is your audience? You know, what's your domain? Are you doing academic writing? Are you doing general writing? Are you writing an email? It asks you a bunch of questions. After you answer those questions, it'll bring you, I say, to the home page. And you can tell you have premium access if you see this blue flag that says EDU on there. Blue flag that says EDU. I was looking for a blue flag that said premium, and I freaked out, and I was calling everybody and tech support. So don't be, you know, I felt like everyone was laughing at me, but don't be alarmed. If it's a red flag, you do not have the premium version, okay? You might need to delete your account and try it again. So on this here, you have your menu. It says My Grammarly. You have your account. You have apps. We'll talk about that in a minute. And then with this square you could click on it. It says New, and that's where you could cut and paste your document. So if you have a document in Word, you can cut and paste that and put it there, or you can upload it by clicking under here. Questions so far?
Any kind of document? What kind of?
Not PDF document. I've tried PDF. It doesn't upload PDF, but you can cut and paste if it'll allow you to do that. And I'll show you an example of a document too. So how do you check your document? Once you upload it, then you have your overall score, and it's here. This overall score tells you the quality of your writing. And it goes from 0 to 100. And the more you correct it, it gives you all these different suggestions. The more you correct it, the higher the score will go. So you have your text, you'll have your text on this side, and then in the middle, you will have your suggestions, and it'll even explain to you why that is incorrect. And then you'll have the overall score and the assistant, your goals, and that's pretty much what you set up at the beginning, but you can adjust those. And then you have correctness, clarity, engagement, and delivery. And so correctness is checking your spelling, punctuation, and grammar. Clarity is checking, that's the blue is checking clarity and conciseness. Green, engagement, and red and purple, politeness, formality, and friendliness. And those last two are for premium accounts only. So I'm going to show you just kind of an example. Some other features. I'll stop my share. And so here is what Grammarly will look like once you see all of your uploads, all of your essays. And these are some sample student papers. So I clicked in here. This is actually a sample student paper. And so do you see over on, let me see if I can move. So I can't move her. But the overall score for this essay, it's in the corner, it's 74. And you see it says correctness, there's 57 alerts here. Clarity, it tells you it's a bit unclear. Engagement is a bit bland, and delivery is just right. And that's just how Grammarly populated. And this is called the Grammarly editor. And this is a sample student paper. So let's see, it tells you culture is defined as, it tells you here that this is passive voice. And if you want to learn more, you can click there and it'll tell you what passive voice is and how you can correct it. Another thing that Peoples it tells you inconsistent punctuation, and then it'll show you, it says 1 of 22. There were 22 errors like this. So you can go through the arrows and you can see every single mistake like that. Do we have questions? If you want to deactivate certain suggestions, if they're suggesting something and you say, hey, I know it's right, I don't want them to keep giving me the alerts, you could click there and you can either click on incorrect suggestion, or you can click on turn off suggestions like this. Plagiarism check is down at the bottom. You see, I don't know if you guys could see. Let's see if I could move it. Plagiarism check is at the bottom, and I'll show you another screenshot of that. But if I click on the plagiarism check, it'll tell you 1% is similar, and it'll tell you it'll show you the source. And these are all of the different sources. So once you make all of your corrections, you can come over here where you see this menu. Click on that, and then you can download it. Click on download. And then it'll download it to a Word document. Do we have questions on the editor? It's pretty simple and easy, user-friendly.
It also embeds in Word, right?
Yes, it does. Depending on what Word you have, and we'll talk about that. Do you have it on Word? You do? Okay, so I think that's the next point. Okay, so the plagiarism detection that I was showing you, you couldn't see it because of the screen. It's right down here at the bottom of the screen. And this is the goal setting, and this is what I was talking about before. You can put the audience, formality, domain, tone, and intent here. So here are all of the available plugins. If you go back to your menu, you can click on apps, and it'll give you all of the available plugins or apps that you can use for your operating system. So I'm on a Mac, so it has Microsoft Word available on a Mac, Grammarly for Mac, Chrome, you can use it on your phone, and then it says for iPad. So all you have to do is click on install, and then you'll be able to install it on. So what he asked, can you use it on Word? You can use it on Word, and it is very similar to the Grammarly editor that was before that I showed you. And all you do is you go to Word, and then you can go to Insert, click on Add-ins, and then type in Grammarly, and you can download it that way. And it's like 3 or 4 steps, and you have it. This is the catch, though. I try to do it on my Word. Now, I have a free Word, free Microsoft that's through Prairie View. And it gives me this error. It says, sorry, Office 365 has been configured to prevent individual acquisition of Office Store add-ins.
Same thing for me.
Yes.
I just recently had to get a new computer. So whenever I went to go download it on my new computer, I couldn't get it. That or WordPress.
That's the problem. And so I was frustrating myself. I was getting upset. I thought I broke my computer and all of that. And then finally I realized that Office products that are managed by an organization, our organization and most organizations, they block those abilities to download new add-ins. We can still use it. We can just cut and paste it. So from our Word document, we could cut it and then we can paste it in there. But I've tried it. I've tried it on my Word, then I tried it on my son's computer and he doesn't have it and it worked perfectly. So it was a little, but that's what it is. They use it as a security feature. So those of you guys who don't have the PrairView or another organization managing the Microsoft Office, then you should be able to do it, okay?
But the Microsoft itself has an editing that shows all the parameters that you listed. When you do editing on Microsoft, it shows you clarity, it shows you delivery.
Okay, so it has it just like this embedded in that? Well, that's great to know.
But you have to turn on the edit.
Okay.
Then that you need to turn the edit, then you hit the edit. It shows you how many grammar errors you have. Then it takes you one by one. It shows you how many spelling error you have. Then you can't go one by one.
Okay.
And then finally it shows you clarity, delivery, consistency, just a number.
Well, that's good to know. Thank you. That might be something we could look into too, using that. And what he's saying is that Microsoft Word has the same capabilities as Grammarly. Going to edit first, right? Okay.
But I have a question for you. As far as the plagiarism is concerned. Say for example, if you quote somebody's statement as is and put the citation, how do you reconcile it? Does it consider a plagiarism, or because I quote it, it doesn't consider it?
It will underline it, but you can go into your settings and you can tell them not to include the quoted material.
Okay.
And it's just options. It'll ask you a bunch of questions. That's one of the questions that it'll ask you. So then how to check email with Grammarly. And this is really good because sometimes I'll send an email and the email, after I reread it, I'm like, oh my goodness, that was terrible. Let me go back. I should have read it, or I had a mistake, or I have a typo. I put 2 S's or 2 periods or something like that. So Grammarly, you can use Grammarly's browser extension, and they have it for Chrome, Safari, Firefox, and Edge, and even Outlook. Outlook for everything except for Mac right now. They're working on the Outlook for Mac, but they have it for other computers. So you can also cut and paste your text from the document for the email and put it into the editor. So as you type it, this is just my screenshot from my personal email. As I'm typing my email, do you see this G right here? If you click on that G, it'll give you suggestions. It'll check your information, your writing there. So there are some limitations, and I told you that I get frustrated sometimes. So there are some limitations. It is not perfect. I can use it on my phone. I told you I can use it on my computer, with my email, with everything it feels like. But the limitation is that it does not catch every error. Earlier, I said, think of it as a part of the editing process. It is not the entire editing process. So I don't want you to think that if you just run your essay, or your writing through Grammarly, then it's going to be perfect, because it's not. Dealing with students, I've had students come to me and say, Ms. Dorsey, I cannot believe this. Like, I ran my essay through Grammarly and I still didn't get a good grade on that essay. And so that's the reason why you saw so many student essays in my Grammarly, because I ran it and I pulled it up and showed them, no, it doesn't catch everything. And then this is how you correct it. They didn't even really know how to correct it as well. So that was one thing. Another thing is, although you can use it for up to 5 different devices, and this is for people who do a lot of writing, there's a word limit of 150,000 words. in a 30-day period. So for me, that's a lot of words, but for some people who writes novels, that might not be a lot. Another one is there is no Microsoft Outlook for extension for Mac yet. I contacted them a couple weeks ago and asked them because I wanted it on my computer, and they said they're working on it. They don't have it for Mac, but they just did. Someone's.
One of my issues is when I'm writing something and it's a long chapter, I have to cut and paste half of it in the new document because it won't accept all the words. Are they doing anything to address that, or?
I haven't.
Limitation?
That's a limitation too. The limit is a limitation. They say, I've heard of people say that they, like what you do, they just split it up. They have one document here, one document that. They didn't address that. I haven't asked about it either, but no, they do have, it's a word requirement for each time we use it and for a 30-day period. So that's a good point. That is another limitation. Another one is you cannot merge the basic and the premium together. So there's a lot of people that say, hey, I have the basic Grammarly, but now I'm finding out that I can use premium with Prairie View. How do I merge it? You cannot do that. You can't do that. They say you can save it. And this is not to discourage you, just some things that frustrated me. And I just, frustrated me, and I don't want you guys to throw your computers the way I felt. But you can save it by downloading it the way I showed you, and you can upload it again through it. And then finally, some people experience difficulty signing up, and that is if it's linked by default to the Google and adding the Microsoft Word extension. And that is kind of what she was saying back there and what I went through. So you have to make sure your software is compatible to what Grammarly has. But I told you all of that not to tell you not to use Grammarly, because there is so much more that you can do with Grammarly. We already talked about it, text messages, social media. If you go to their website, and I have it linked here, and I could send this to Dr. Foster and Shayla. There's so many different tips and tutorials and different features that they have. I think it's definitely helpful as a part of the editing process. And customer service is excellent. I've called them a whole lot, emailed them a lot. I submit my request, and then they send me an email probably within the next 5 to 10 minutes. It's very, very good. So every single issue I've gotten an answer to, and I've done it a lot. First, because students were coming to me and they didn't know how to use it. They were having so many different issues, and a lot of it was user error. And then when I started using it myself, so I think customer service is excellent. Do we have any questions?
I tried to, I'll get with you later. I tried to sign up just now, but it won't send me the email. It's refusing to send me.
That is another thing. A lot of students said that. What they said was check your junk, and what the students in the Writing Center found was that it was in the PV Mimecast. So once they went to PV Mimecast and they released that, then they found it.
Okay, maybe I haven't got the update.
Okay.
It's not in the junk, but I'll check the podcast next time I get the update.
Okay, thank you. But yes, that was
That Mimecast is weird. I'm getting PV emails put into the Mimecast from
Yes.
PV addresses.
Yes. That's been, and the students were so they're like, well, what's going on? We're calling Grammarly, they're doing all this stuff. And then finally, the one student said, I got it in the Mimecast. We told the other students to look, and they all found it in the Mimecast. So it was interesting. But we don't have any other questions. Thank you so much.